Hello everyone, let's discuss today's The Hindu editorial page. The first article is the need to examine the examination system. In this article, the writer says that the credibility of the examination system in educational institutions is linked to the standard of the certificate that the examination school boards issue. The lack of credibility in educational institutions affects educational standards because learning is conditioned by the proposed examination system. Teaching and learning should prepare students to face any type of examination, while the general pattern is to ensure that students only prepare for rote memorization. The key objectives of education administration are inflation of marks and achieving a very high pass percentage, which increases the labor search cost for employers. A credible examination system is one of the key ways to improve the standard of education. India has over 1,100 universities, 50,000 affiliated colleges, 700 autonomous colleges, and a total enrollment of 40.15 million students. There are also 60 school boards for secondary and higher secondary levels of school education, certifying more than 15 million students every year. Standards and standardization are considered the hallmarks of good examination boards, but secrecy without proper checks and balances leads to scandals. Standardization through uniformity in examination kills experimentation in assessment and curriculum. Instead, the credibility of assessment and standard of education can be ensured only through transparency in teaching and assessment. In educational institutions, the summative examination is supposed to test and certify a student's learning, but its validity over time and comparability across institutions are meaningless today. This inconsistency of the examination system is cause for concern. An examination is supposed to have tested certain academic abilities, from memory to application and creation of knowledge and critical thinking. Often there are complaints that the examination boards test only memory. Teachers then coach students to memorize answers and score marks rather than teach them higher order thinking. There are many instances where we come across question papers that have grave flaws such as language errors, errors in conceptualization, irrelevant questions, and questions that do not test higher order learning. The evaluation of answer scripts is indiscriminate, and the grades do not reflect the differences in students' learning achievements. The employment of a graduate depends on higher order learning, while examination boards do not certify students on those skills. Institutional examinations fail in this, and employers disregard institutional certification and have their own rigorous assessments of a candidate's academic achievements and suitability for employment. This creates a coaching market for competitive examinations and skilling. Assessment quality should be the foundation for calibrating a good assessment system. All regulatory institutions in India have an emphasis on outcome-based learning in institutions. There are elaborate advisories on curriculum design, pedagogy, and examination systems from all the regulatory boards. However, in the absence of regular and effective oversight, these advisories are hardly followed by educational institutions. In conclusion, the credibility of the examination system in educational institutions is crucial for improving the standard of education. By ensuring consistency and addressing the issues that arise from the examination system, educational institutions can work towards a more equitable and effective educational system. The next article is bringing back the faith in India's politics. In this article, the writer says that India has been criticized for its leadership, leading to a zero-sum antagonism where only the most partisans can thrive. This situation would be tragic if left unaddressed, as it would be detrimental to everyone who loves our country. To restore trust in our politics, there are several behaviors that need to be acknowledged and checked. The government's abuse of state power, such as intimidation, incarceration, and defections, has been widely documented and needs further investigation. A section of the opposition, particularly civil society, has pursued a strategy of embarrassing the government, which is not only complicit in the breakdown of communication, but also ineffective in focusing the opposition's attention on tactics with limited electoral relevance. It would be naive to expect a spontaneous change of heart from both parties. However, individuals of all ideological inclinations who value civilization and moderation in our politics can play a crucial role in restoring basic democratic principles in public life. Many of these individuals wield influence within politically relevant institutions, either officially or through their networks. This group can play a pivotal role in restoring basic democratic principles in our public life by exercising influence on three key fronts. 1. While partisanship is an important driver of multi-party democracy, party membership is increasingly being construed as a tribal pledge to defend the indefensible. The demands of unthinking and belligerent loyalty can only exacerbate partisanship and cynicism. Instead, party members must use their influence to restrain their own party's excesses and reorient focus towards substantial issues. 2. The anti-defection law has been criticized for subverting representative democracy by constraining legislators to party leadership's diktat. However, there is a growing consensus that the anti-defection law is not effective in promoting democracy. In conclusion, India's leadership has been criticized for its lack of good faith in politics, leading to a zero-sum antagonism where only the most partisans can thrive. To restore trust in our politics, we must acknowledge and check these behaviors, engage with individuals of all ideological inclinations, and take action to restore democratic principles in our public life. The next article is drug war. Antimicrobial resistance is a health issue that will negate advances in medicine. In this article, the writer says that the use of antibiotics for prevention is better than cure. But it's important to remember that the purpose of treating patients to recover may be counterproductive. Prophylactic use of antibiotics can lead to antimicrobial resistance, AMR, which is deadly. The first multi-centric point prevalence survey of antibiotic use at 20 NACNet sites, India 2021-22, conducted by the National Center for Disease Control under the Health Ministry, revealed that over 70% of patients in tertiary care hospitals were prescribed antibiotics, with over 50% having the potential to cause AMR. AMR occurs when pathogens evolve, fortifying themselves against drugs and stopping responding to antimicrobial drugs. This ever-increasing crisis is exacerbated by unsound medical and animal husbandry practices. Misuse and overuse of antibiotics cause drug-resistant pathogens that pose great risks to life and exacerbate mortality. The World Health Organization estimates that bacterial AMR was directly responsible for 1.27 million global deaths in 2019 and contributed to 4.95 million deaths. Infectious diseases, specialists and critical care experts have long been advocating for rational prescription of antibiotics and curbs on drug use to promote growth in animals and plants. Urgent measures are required to develop new drug candidates and provide more equitable access to them. The role of doctors and the government in regulating drug use is crucial in this battle, but patients are impatient with the medical process and expect immediate relief. The agency has the responsibility to establish systems that strictly regulate the use of antibiotics and promote and fund research on newer antibiotics that will draw the line between life and death.